Hey everyone. Almost on my ketogenic journey. I have about 3 or 4 more days left. And I just kind of want to give a brief summary of how I felt on it, who I would recommend it for, and who I wouldn't recommend it for so much. So, the first thing that I want to say is that it has been absolutely delicious. Eating fat for the majority of your calories is just scrumptious. And the meals have been really easy. As long as you're not totally afraid of fat, you can do it. So, for instance, the breakfast that I had this morning, I had a little bit of ground pork left over. I threw some eggs on it, topped it with avocado, cilantro, and a little bit of this fermented salsa. It's really, really low in carbohydrates, and it kind of helps to kick your gut into producing beneficial bacteria. It's a probiotic, so it's really, really good to add on top of food. You can't add too much just because it is a source of carbs, but it's really low. So I've been adding that, and it has helped with any kind of digestive issues that we're having with breaking down fat. It has been really great for some things that I was having. I feel like my lips are nice and plump. They're not dehydrated and cracked anymore. I feel like my skin is clear. A lot of my kind of aches and pains have gone away. The only thing that did happen was I did have a seizure, but the seizure also happened a couple days after I had been drinking alcohol on 2 nights in a row, which is not something I usually do. There's a lot of celebrations going on in our family right now. So I see that the ketogenic diet obviously is not perhaps the cure, but also anytime you drink alcohol, you're subjecting your body to not optimal levels of health. So my fatigue and energy has been really great, except for the whole siege days. So I can see how this diet's really, really great if somebody has chronic fatigue. I think anybody with joint issues would have really good success on this diet because fat is so nourishing and lubricating. It was going well for my skin, and then this kind of flared up again, but again, it was after I drank the alcohol. So ketogenic diet does not forbid you from having alcohol, but it does say you have to stick to certain types like vodka, gin, and certain types of red wine because they don't impact your blood sugar levels. But I didn't stick to that those 2 days. Those were my only cheats on the whole time though. I didn't cheat once with bread, I didn't cheat with muffins, I didn't cheat with chocolate or sugar, I didn't use honey. I stayed on the food items 100% of the time. It was the alcohol that was really difficult. So that's something to really be aware of when you're embarking on a new diet and saying, what role does this play in my life? Are there any family parties coming up? What can I do or say? So the next healing diet will be different because it basically says, no drinking. So sorry if there's any parties coming up, mom and dad. I think we're clear though for a while. So it was great. So in terms of people that I would recommend it for, like I said, I would recommend it for people that are having any energy issues, anybody that's having weight loss issues as well. I've noticed that I kind of naturally shed a couple pounds. I just feel lighter, my rings are looser. If you do it right, if you do this diet right, you can lose weight pretty quickly and pretty easily, but it's just if you want to maintain it long term. If you want to maintain it long term, you have to get into things like fasting, which I didn't do just because I wasn't keto adapted enough, aka my body just wasn't in ketosis for long enough to try things like fasting. I would not recommend it if you have any sort of organ issues. If you have any liver issues or kidney issues, I would not recommend this diet. It would be too hard on those organs that deal with processing the breakdown of fats and minerals, because electrolyte balance plays such a huge part in this diet as well. So I would want your organs completely all good and clean before you started to do this kind of diet. I would also be interested to see how somebody that is a little bit more type A than myself would deal with this diet. So if you're noticing that you are kind of calorie obsessed and really obsessed with measuring food to the T, I don't know if I'd recommend this because you're supposed to. And I think that it might cause you too much stress if you're out and you're not able to weigh the amount of eggs or vegetables or whatnot that are in the food. It's good to measure off to start to give you an idea of what this amount of calories looks like weighed out in terms of protein, fat, or carbohydrate. But I'd be really, really, really interested, or, I don't know if I'd be interested, but I would not recommend this way of eating for someone that has eating disorder issues around measuring food and obsessing about everything that's going into their mouth. Because with the ketogenic diet, you have to measure your food to make sure that the calories that you're consuming are coming from a certain amount from fat and a certain amount from proteins and a certain amount of carbs. I hate measuring. I don't like weighing. I did it for a little bit and then I just got into my intuitive knowledge of, okay, this is how much fat, protein, and carbs I'm supposed to have in a meal. I'm a nutritionist, so that's easy for me. If you're not a nutritionist and this is one of the first big diet overhauls you're ever trying, I would try low carb first before jumping right into ketogenic. So that would be kind of my number one recommendation for watch out. This diet's also supposed to be really good for people with diabetes. Again, I would check with your doctor before going into this. I would check with your doctor no matter what before trying this diet, just because I would be interested to seeing what your doctor would say. Do not try this diet if you're not interested in learning about healthy fats. If you want to try this diet because you're like, hell yeah, bacon bonanza, let's go, don't do it. It's going to cause your body more harm than good, even though in the beginning it might seem like you have way more energy and life is grand. So you have to be really interested in learning about what are healthy fats in this diet, what are not so healthy fats. How do I be prepared for when I go out so I'm not just going to McDonald's and chucking the bun and eating the patty and the bacon and whatnot. Fortunately, there's tons and tons of new ketogenic diets out there. It's not just Atkins anymore. There's lots of recipe books. There's a ketogenic diet cleanse. Even the one that I was following is really good because it doesn't allow dairy, even though I ate some out, which is probably why I'm still having mucousy congestion stuff. So that's basically who I would recommend it for and who I wouldn't recommend it for. And I've had a lot of good feelings with this diet. Digestive though, I gotta say, not the hottest. This diet can plug you up because you're not eating as much fiber as you were. So if you're not taking care of your bowels, it can be scary. And don't do this diet unless you're taking a digestive enzyme with lipase. Lipase helps break down fat. Your liver and gallbladder are responsible for breaking fat down in your body because your gallbladder supplies bile, which breaks down fat. So if you're not going to help your liver and gallbladder out with a digestive enzyme, not going to be a good idea. Last thing I will say, if you do not feel comfortable feeling nauseous or dizzy or kind of spacey, don't do this diet because your body goes into a keto flu when it switches to burning ketones instead of glucose, and you feel out of it. You feel like a flu hit you, might feel spacey, you get nauseous right away just because you're not used to eating fat. So if you're not okay for feeling like that for a couple days just because you know yourself and you know you won't be able to kind of do well, then don't try it out. That's what I gotta say. You gotta be okay with drinking salt water too, which is weird, but fat consumption and electrolytes are kind of hand in hand. So there's just a few kind of radical concepts that if you can wrap your head around and you know what to expect, then you'll be successful. Don't walk into this diet blindly. You have to be more educated and more prepared than just saying, I'm gonna cut out meat. Okay, so it is different that way. If you have any other questions, you can comment below and I'll try to address them as much as I can. I'll leave you some resources. And right now, I'm going to finish off my 3 more days. Then I'm going to eat whatever I want on our family vacation. Then I'll be back with a new diet that's going to be even more restrictive and gut healing than the one I'm currently on. Have a good one.